beautiful souls. Welcome to my channel. Keep shining your light wherever you are with lots of love and light. Let's start today's video. And the topic is going to be for those of you who follow me for Kundalini related videos. We're going to talk about how ego resists the flow of Kundalini. It poses a lot of problems when Kundalini is rising in you accidentally, and you're facing a lot of problems due to that rising that is happening in the wrong way, because the system of many of us who has not been trained and disciplined to let the flow of this energy rise through us, pass through a lot of painful experiences due to this, especially the fear and panic that begins to come to the surface because the force of the energy is so strong. So we're going to deal with one such topic that is going to help you understand that how important it is to understand the nature of our limited ego and that dimension of our being. When we begin to expand our awareness around that, it is going to ease your process and have the energy to flow through you with much more ease. So let's get started with today's topic of how ego is resisting the flow of Kundalini. For those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Ashoo Modgil. And if you have not subscribed to my channel and would like to have access to more such content on Kundalini support, Kundalini difficulties, or rise of Kundalini in your system and its integration, you're most welcome to subscribe to my channel. I also create videos on laughter yoga and transformation, self-help, positive change, holistic lifestyle. So do subscribe if you would like an access to this content. So let's get started. How ego is resisting the flow of Kundalini through our energetic dimension. So now the Kundalini has decided to awake itself in you, and the difficulties that you're facing is uprooting from your current lifestyle, that you are not feeling the same sensations, your system is kind of feeling very, very uncomfortable because it is not able to function like it used to function earlier in your current reality. So the message that Kundalini is trying to give to you is that you have to let go of your past habits. You have to let go of your past lifestyle. You have to let go of everything past, which is not an easy thing to do, and it is bound to create a lot of overwhelm in your system. So we will start from a simple step of understanding that how our ego that has been formed based upon our conditioning of our lifestyles, the belief systems that we have picked up in our upbringing, it has created a structured ego self, and there are a lot of narratives that are being fed. Our ego is fed. So consider that our current ego is like this. It's a real live thing. It's like a real live thing. And it has been fed over the years since we were born with a lot of food of narratives of I. So it has been fed. So from it's a tiny little baby, it became into a toddler, a young adult, and it has become so fat. It has become so fat. So fat with those narratives that has been fed into it, either by culture, by people around you, based upon their subjective belief systems, or based upon how your internal self perceived the messages that were sent to you during your upbringing. So your narratives is very subjective. It is your own unique experience. A lot of information has been fed into it. So our ego has become this much fat. Can you imagine? It is so dense. So when the Kundalini is piercing through this density, how painful it becomes, because Kundalini is trying to pierce through this concentrated, dense narratives that your ego has created over the years. And it is trying to dismantle that narrative. It is trying to dismantle that narrative when it is trying to pierce through it. And it is becoming very painful. It is causing you a lot of pain. So understanding this image, I think, is quite pretty clear image to let you understand that your pain is coming from the clash, the war between your old self that has been constructed on the belief system and how Kundalini is trying to pierce through. It's just like if something is trying to pierce through my hand and it forces, it is more powerful. This object is more powerful and it is successful in forcing its way through my hand. What am I left with? A hole in my hand. And it is going to create so much pain. It's going to create so much pain. And the first thing my nervous system is going to do is going into panic and rush for help and try to make sense. First of all, it won't understand what is this force? Why is it doing this to me? Why is it happening to me? So your nervous system is getting so confused, going into chaos. So understanding the nature of this energy becomes very important. And that is going to help you then to work with what it is trying to dismantle in your system. It is trying to dismantle any kind of impurities that are the result of those narratives that are detaching you from the truth of your being, that is separating you from the truth of your being. And what is the truth of your being? That you're much bigger than your limited ego that is being fed into you. So when this ego is blasted, what is there? A lot of open space, a spaciousness, freedom, liberation, right? But when we are stuck in this space, the stories, the narratives, the density, the concentration of those narratives, and how our attention is stuck and into these fed beliefs, into these fed perceptions, that is creating suffering, that is creating pain. And Kundalini is one-pointed. The function of Kundalini is it is one-pointed concentration. It has to do what it has to do. It is a universal force field that is very neutral. And if it is decided to activate through you, she's very clear. This divine force is very clear what it wants to do to you. It is only we are not clear. Our ego is in panic. Our ego doesn't want to transform. Our ego doesn't want to change. Our narratives that have given meaning and sense of purpose to our lives are too scared to get dismantled because it is in fear, because it has no sense of referencing what will emerge out of that darkness. First of all, it is not ready to go into the darkness, that chaos, because it has no sense of referencing of what will come out of it, what will emerge out of it. So that fear of uncertainty, the fear of unknown is pretty big when this energy is rising. And just to tell you, take a deep breath in. If you're going through this, and trust. Because that is the only option you're left with. The path of trust. Trust the process and let it do its work. And understand the nature of your limited ego that it is trying to pierce through, so that you can disidentify yourself from this limited ego self and start sensing your truth as a part of the universal self, the part of the universal consciousness, that it is trying to pierce through that your fat egoic stories, the narrative, so that it can blast open it. And you can experience that limitless, healthy sense of ego that will come through union with that knowing that you're the part of much bigger self, the universal self. And this can only happen if you will let yourself trust the process, if you will let yourself experience that pain that is being caused by the dismantling of your old status, the old stories, the old grounding that your consciousness had created based upon the cultural belief patterns and conditioning. So it is like deconditioning is happening, which is a very painful process. If you're not aware where it is leading you to. So it's like you get trapped in chaos during this process if you do not let this understanding penetrate through your energy layers and start accepting your everyday life as a life of emergence, a life that is trying to bring you into your authentic self. And that authentic self is free from doubts. The conditions that it wants you to now adopt is start peeling through the layers of your doubts, because the doubt will emerge. The doubts are going to emerge. Deep doubts are going to emerge in this process about your old identity is dissolving in this process, especially when the Kundalini is accidental. It arose in your system when the system was not purified of its mental bodies, its emotional bodies that were not purified. So a lot of fear will rise to the surface during this process. So good guidance is needed to stabilize this energy in you and sail through your process as it comes to you on daily basis, because remember, this is much larger force than our big fat ego fed by the narratives, social narratives, and is trying to bring you out of that consciousness of I-ness that is fed on the beliefs which are very limited in nature, and is trying to show you that you are not that limited ego self. You're much bigger than that. But in doing so, it is not enhancing your limited ego. In doing so, it is pushing you to your limits of discomfort so that you can arise through that discomfort into much lighter space. From that, beliefs are holding you down to this ground in your old ego identity, and it's trying to dismantle those beliefs so that you are going into a new reality, a new co-creation, a new identity, an identity which is free from that limited old I self. And it is going into that I self that is coming from the union with the co-creator. The presence of the co-creator in your consciousness is going to be the most dominant memory now. So as your old memories are eradicated, now this dominant memory that dominates the space of your consciousness is the creator's consciousness that is working through you, and you are submitting to that in your everyday life without question. So whatever emerges is welcomed with gratitude. with a sense of joy that you have learned to accumulate in this process, because it is putting you through that lot of testing times, challenging times, and this is the way for the divine to rise through you, to test you that are you the right student? Though it has chosen you, so you must be the right student. So just be an obedient student now by understanding and listening to its voice more and more in your system, and just follow some practices that will help you to sail through this and help you to purify your energetic channels so that the integration of the energy becomes easier in your system through that submission, through that trust, through that discipline, through that grace that this emergence is going to bring you into. So I hope that I've been able to add something to your current experience of Kundalini. And if you would like more guidance and would like to talk to me, I do offer consultations and one-on-one coaching as well. You're most welcome to approach me. Until my next video, I wish you all the best with lots of love and blessings coming your way. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you soon. All the best. Bye-bye.